Okay, so we're here. Today we're chilling. I think Marco's gonna be here already. I know Ethan is. Do you hear it? Do you know what this is? It's background noise from. From? I wonder. Bear with me. All right, from all of my instruments. That's the rabbit on the door. That's the rabbit on the door? Do I have a yeah. All right. And I remember. The rabbit's gone. We don't know where it is. It just stayed with us for like a couple weeks, and then it had better things to do. You know rabbits, right? They keep busy. So what I can clearly see is that maybe it's not passing through your feed this much because of gating and other stuff. But there's quite a lot of noise coming from, I wonder. That's a very, very, that's a very loud. I see it from, oh, the Prophet's also doing that? Well, exactly. Is it just the Prophet? This is the most elaborate commercial ever for sequential, by the way. You know, I gotta, I gotta pay my dues. So, what are we doing today? Today is gonna be like 100% super chilling atmosphere wise. We're gonna talk about synthesizers with DACs, meaning, you know, the converters that they have, and we will do it through two plugins that I think are super awesome. And today we're gonna do this thanks to it's actually another topic which is it's kind of there, which is about sample packs. So it's not just synthesizers, but we wouldn't be able to do this episode if it wasn't for Black Dragon sample design, sound design, which is actually Mike. And is Mike here? No, maybe not. So Mike has made an amazing sample pack, which is absolutely free. I put a link in the description here that you can get, and we're gonna use, and I'm gonna show you how I use sample packs and how I put them in my sort of like template and work. Now you might say, have we asked for it? No, I don't care. It's okay. Sometimes I do stuff you ask me to do. Other times I just think it's beneficial for you to know it. So that's what we're gonna do. And sample packs are actually quite underrated, meaning the danger of sample packs is underrated because you think you buy one, you get one, and you just use it. To me, it has never actually worked that way. It needs to be part of my ecosystem, otherwise it will never sound okay. And so we will explore what I do when I get a sample pack or when I have sounds that I think will work for some kind of production and I am about to use them. You know, when I use them, they've been ready in my template for quite some time. So I'm gonna show you what it means to be ready, okay? But so far, I was checking some connections in the studio that I have redone. And there's something that I was just checking. So I've redone some pedal stuff, which is all about here. And I've redone some just minor things, just connections to the patch bay that you can see here. And then I've redone some MIDI plugin in for the interface that is handling the DW8000 and the Amiga back there. So believe it or not, this is my Amiga. Can you believe that? This is Sonic's 2.0 that was made by Agis. I don't know if you know that brand. And it's just It's actually polyphonic. Amazing. And the effects are obviously just pedals or other stuff and things here. What is it about? It's just timeline, big sky, and black hole. But it's a polyphonic synthesizer, so doesn't go that low in octaves, but can you hear what is happening when I play some of the middle notes? So hear it out. It's just, I mean, we're having fun because today I'm partying. It's my saint's name, so I'm not a religious person, but I'm taking everything I can to just have fun. So hear what is happening in the sound itself. I don't know if you know what that is. I don't know if you can hear it. Hear how the sound is kind of flanging or modulating? You know what that is? It's aliasing. And it's part of the sound of a lot of units we actually love, believe it or not. Now, you might not love the Amiga, you might say that's horrible, but that sound, the kind of texture you hear is the Amiga aliasing at frequencies that you can kind of hear very well because of the amount of aliasing as well that you have. So we have it in plugins. We have heard about oversampling the heck out of everything just because we know things to just, not have that artifact, which is aliasing. But believe it or not, aliasing's been part of a lot of music that it still is some of my favorite. So you can quit now probably because you don't want to hear about somebody talking about that. But this episode wouldn't be possible, as I said, without Black Dragon Sound Design and Inphonik. Because these two companies, these two amazing teams, although I know that Mike's been doing pretty much everything by himself from Black Dragon, these teams have provided me with stuff that we can play with and explain stuff with. So that is really, really awesome. Inphonik doesn't have demos as far as I know, so they've donated two of their plugins actually to me so that I can demonstrate it to you. And the RX950 is off the hook amazing. But there's another company that has been just making one plugin that I know you're all about, convolution and how amazing that could be. And it's Acustica Audio with A0. So as usual, we just do some kind of, not shootout, but we talk about what that is. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about why DACs are still popular in the 12-bit realm, why Akai samplers still have a renowned sound, what is that all about, is it true, is it not true, blah, 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 blah. So, let's go. Actually, we're not going to go because we're going to take it easy. But that was kind of a cool introduction, right? So I hope you people have been doing fun and fine stuff in this week. We're approaching Friday. And so far, my studio works, so I'm kind of fairly happy. And usually, I start at 6:30. And so today, we started early, so we have pretty much nothing to do. So if you had a bad day, let me know about it so we can kind of hunt it down and just destroy it. If you had a good day, let me know about it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to test the synths I have. And, we're just going to make sure that all my connections work. And then we're going to talk about sample packs, and then we're going to talk about DACs and things like that. So that's as simple as that. It's not that much of an interest, right? It's just basic stuff. So let's go over the synthesizers that I have packed in to hear whether or not they work. Because I've updated Bitwig Studio. This DAW is so good. So good. So we got our base station, whose local channel I have to disable. All right, here. So we got our base station. Ooh, which is not configured. Go here, base station 2. All right, how about we do this? Is it playing? No. Okay. It's playing. So this one works. And then we got our Voyager. Is it the Voyager though? It is. Let me go there. Let me go here. Here. Yep. Yes, it's the Voyager, and it works. So that one's already configured. It didn't. It's stuck. Okay. Then I can play stuff with my base station too, but I can also reach out to the different synths. That's a Prophet 6. It works. Sounds off the hook good. Let's go over some other stuff. Let me do some multi-camera stuff action here. Let me go over my Prophet 12. All right, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, so now we do the Prophet 12, which looks to me as if it's not configured. Okay. Do I have a setup for it? Yes, we do. Boom. Okay. Oh, no. Yes. Okay. So number 8. Everything's set. All right. How about that? Right. So this works as well. How about the Nord lead? Let me just move the things up so you can see my synthesizers. Oh, who is that? The Poly 6 isn't patched. Alright. That works. But can I play it from here? Sounds fine and awesome. So the other stuff isn't actually connected, believe it or not. I mean, today. So, okay. Things work. Please go back to looking at our Prophet because we like it. And it's got the pedals up there. So, I think everything kind of works. And I can really... hear how nice that is. Oh, the DW8000. James isn't here, but he'd love that. Does your DW8000 sound like that? I doubt that. Maybe it's a good thing, you know? You never know. So, maybe that's a good thing, for real. Very chilling, very nice, very cool. Everything's kind of set. This is my template at work. I can't believe that... oh no, it's got quite a lot of things. But not too much. I mean, it's got 4 or 5 presets and things like that. So if I take my real synths here and I go mute, 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 You hear how much the level drops? And again, maybe you can't really hear it because you have filters on it. I'm gating the most extreme noise, but you know, just to avoid just long tails and things like that. But there's definitely some build up. The Prophet is sending so much sound into other things. I think it's the preset that I have that's really the distortion of it. It's off the hook, or maybe the actual spring. Okay, so all right. What else? Nothing. Are we on time? We are. Let me just check other things here. Alb. All right. What have I done here? You know. Everything works and sounds really, really good. I wonder if, yeah. This is Omni. Okay, so what we gotta fix is I kept adding stuff in here. But I think we got a ton of things we don't quite need at the moment. The problem is it's all just, okay. What can we turn off? Maybe this Omnisphere. What is this synth though? Ah, no. This one we don't need. All right, go. In our desperate attempt to lower our CPU usage, look at that. Where is it? Here. Spiking like hell. But it's fun. It's fine. It's fine. As long as I can find something that will not... Right. Okay, this one's good. Taking a look if I have any plugins that are too much before we start. Who's really killing our vibe here? Like, who's really sucking a lot of resources? Maybe it's these things here. I don't really need these reverbs. All right. Isn't that cool? Did we drop a lot? Did we? Wow. Okay. Okay. Wait, what? This is a lot. What did I use here? Something east-west. Multipass? Oh, maybe it's the regeneration one. Okay, I'll take this. I like this. Is it crackling now? Let me go Albion here. It's still doing that. Okay, so let's take these off. Boom. All right. How about the Manly that has been misbehaving all day? Right. So. Okay, a bit dry, but we can fix that. Avalanche run, assemble. It's still crackling though. But I can't hear it because my brain is on the music. I'm that good. All right, let's destroy this guy here. Who do I have on the mix bus who's causing this insane amount of issues? Nah, it's everything okay. Master desk. I don't... Come on. The Islander. Oh, okay. It could be that. Maybe it's just me streaming and doing too many things at once. Could be that. So... Okay, is it still doing that? Okay. Right. It's still crackling. Okay. So let's ditch other stuff. I'm just taking a look at who's out here doing damage. Maybe this. We don't need. I think it's gonna crackle anyway, just because of how the audio is kind of doing. I'm taking a look at these plugins. They don't take a lot of resources. Oh, maybe these do. Okay. Well, ciao. Okay. Well, the base station 2's got a little bit too much going on. Oh, wow. Who invited all these plugins to do stuff? Okay. Let's try that out. Let's go back to our strings arrows. I still hear it though. Do you think my Avalanche run is a little bit too long? In terms of reverb? Wait. I'm gonna play just 2 notes and then we're gonna hear how much of a decay time we have, okay? Okay, how much was that? 30 seconds? Maybe. Minimum? Marco says minimum. I think it's kind of a lot. No wonder my music doesn't sound right. Hold on. No, I can't change it because trust me, this is exactly how I use it. I'm just wondering about the delay because it's kind of a reverb delay pedal. That's a lot of knobs. It is. And it's meaning everywhere. Hi, Mike. On the DAW, on the keys, there's knobs everywhere. In a good way, though. Not scary. So, I wonder why I have so... I think it's just I have to lower my resources. But I wonder what kind of buffer I have. I think it's a 512 thing. And I'm really... Probably when streaming, this thing's not really liking how it's misbehaving. There's not a lot of plugins I'm using here. It's my usual template thing. These don't really suck a lot of resources. But maybe they do. Maybe they do. There's, a couple Manleys, Hazard Rig, Varys. What about, what if I take these guy out? What if I take Highlander out? I didn't even remember Highlander was. Alright, let's try that. Wow, it completely... No, it's boring now. We're early, so... It's not crackling now. It isn't. I muted my synths, my real ones, right here. It's not even crackling on the real one. So I think Highlander is kind of heavy. It's like heavier than I remember. So if I can play the 6 from here. Okay, so it's, I mean, these crackles are not the hardware for sure, and are not plugins and stuff, but like Albion was really, really like sensitive to. Oh, it doesn't have that B flat? It doesn't. I heard it and it's not there. All right, we're almost done. I mean, it works. I just wanted to lower my templates to a level where the sound is still there. I think I want to keep master disk. Is it? No. Okay. All right. It works. It's working. I don't know how much just people have seen stuff happening in the previous things, but it's just, we started at 5:30 with just nothing to do than cleaning the studio, and you have no idea how much of a mess I had behind myself. Luckily, it's gone. So yeah. It's a little bit long. Haha, that's the Volante. Playing something very weird. It's not the preset I usually use. Big Sky. It's not crackling. Okay, we're almost done. I mean, we are. I could stay here and just noodle on things for quite a little bit. So we're not actually going to use Albion strings for as much as I like these two, which ended in my template after not being there and each time reloading things around. It's got some of the best kind of sordino, I think. It's also probably got flautando stuff as well. It's just amazing for paddles and things. Paddles, it's a proper name. So we're not going to use this. We're just taking a look at how stuff is working here. Okay. So we don't really need the real synths to be on. I think there's a ton of noise coming from them when they're open. Everything here is good. So what we're looking at here, let me go. Do we go here? Did we do the introduction or something? Did I do? We should do it. I see people are joining the stream. So, are you there? Is anybody on chat? As I said, today is my Saints' Day. How do you call it? Right? When you have whatever, I don't know. I can't Catholic, sorry. But I should, but I can't. So I should be able to, given my extensive training up to about 7th grade, 8th grade, actually no more. Oh, wow. I'm kind of forgetting my roots. So, okay. So did we do the introduction? I don't think I did the introduction. I think I did, but it doesn't matter because we're doing things live today. We have 2 tasks at hand. The first one will be to talk about sample packs, or what are sample packs and how do you use them. Luckily here we got Mike, who is Black Dragon Sound Design, who, as I said, made the Hemispheres sample pack. Go and download it. There's a download link below. And I'm just going to take this amazing sample pack. You're going to hear why. And I'm going to incorporate that into my template, because that's what I do. I believe there's not a lot of talk about sample packs being utilized for your own music. And I think that's a problem, and you haven't asked for it. So I'm going to just talk about it anyway. Some things you ask for it and I do videos on. Other things I just believe are beneficial for you to hear. So I'm just going to cover it anyway. The reason for this is that you're composing, you're writing songs, you're writing music, you're doing whatever you want, and you start up saying, "Oh, I got this amazing sample pack and I want to use it." I never use a sample pack musically the same day I put it into my DAW song template, whatever you want to call it, like ever. Why? Because I just can't. I can't make music by loading instruments, preparing them, giving them effects, making sure things work, and retain a lucid vision on what I want to compose. I just cannot do it. And I found out later on in my life that it's just better to have it done and ready. I know the sound I want, and sample packs don't do it usually the way I want. They have to be tailored to my needs. If something, even a virtual instrument, sounds ready just out of the box, I usually don't use it because it makes me want to make music towards what the sounding, whatever, like the instrument itself wants me to make a record that it's not mine. There's some virtual instruments I have that are like that. They're amazing in sound, but you hear they want you to make a record of theirs, not of yours. So it needs to be not ready, but it needs to be prepared. Okay, so today we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to show you what I do when I get a sample pack like Hemispheres by Black Dragon Sound Design. Get it, download it. It's down there. I put it into the description text, so you just got a link. Get it out so you know what I'm talking about. You can even follow me in real time before you do it. I won't wait for you to download it anyway. So as you can see here on the top, I already have Hemispheres, kick and snares, and Hemispheres misc, or miscellaneous. But we're going to redo it, okay? I'm not going to waste what I've done because I've spent a good kind of half afternoon setting things, but we're going to redo it, okay? So I'm not going to waste my template on you. I'm actually going to save it again, calling it live stream. So we got it live. And what are sample packs? Well, sample packs just are folders, usually. If they come in WAV format, like PCM audio format, they're just folders. And you can see it here on the right. BDSD, Hemispheres, Drum Kit, WAV, right? This is a folder I just called. And I use these and put it in my WAV libraries, which is WAV file libraries. And there's ambience, there's arpeggio, bass, drums, effects, lead, pad, sample chains. Okay, so they usually come in folders like what Mike has done, right? There's drums, there's bass, arpeggios, different things. Might be a drum library, might be a bass library, might be just packs of samples that people let, play and record, which is amazing. I like that. I think Mike's done that in this pack. How do you use them? Well, first off, you should already know a virtual instrument that you want to use to load your samples. Okay, I'm going to just show you a couple examples. We're going to create a new track here, if I know how to do it, because we got to be extremely weird about it. So there's a couple instruments you can use to load samples. Okay, one could be Reason. You load a rack plugin and you load Redrum. Okay, here you can put all of your, what was that? We don't know. Here you can put all of your samples, right? And you can have it look for samples, put it in here, and have it like a drum machine style. You have about 10 triggers, and you can use them. You can write triggers. You have pads that you can use for patterns, different patterns, running. It's kind of a drum machine, right? I'm not gonna use this one, however. Another one that I really like and I use a lot is Kong, which is about here. Where is it? Instruments. It's about down here. Kong Drum Designer. This one doesn't have the patterns. If it does, I'm unaware of them and I don't use them. It's just pads and you can load stuff around. You can just place your WAV files in here and it's an amazing thing and it just works and it's fun, right? You could use this one. I've used this one on other kits, especially if it sounds from Reason. I am not going to use this one here. The one that I really like to use is, and I'm going to duplicate this here, boom. Can I duplicate that? Yes. And I'm going to take these off and these off for now. Okay. So I'm going to just take drum machine. No, I want an instrument. The one I really like to use is just drum machine in Bitwig. And why do I like that? Because it's just extremely simple and works for what I need to do. I've redone all my machine drum and Octatrack samples and things I've gathered in the years on drum machine. If you have Ableton, there's something similar. There's tons of things that just run pads. I personally like this. It's simple, it's fast. However, placing sounds in there is absolutely not gonna be making them ready off the bat. But how does it work? I'm gonna show you how it works. We have this track that I'm gonna call Hemispheres, Kick and Snares because I don't wanna load all of the pads in here. I usually don't do it. I wanna load just the kicks or just the snares or just the hats, just the overheads, whatever, room samples, it depends. Here I'm gonna do kicks and snares because there's quite a lot of them, but they're manageable somehow. So what I do is I'm gonna take all of these KDs, which are conveniently named KDs, it depends on the sample pack, and I'm gonna drag them down here. Easy as that. It's gonna start from C1 and it's gonna go C sharp 1, D1, D sharp 1, and E1. And these are my samples. Now, usually I expect these pads to be extremely loud. So I take just a fader and I just drop it down, okay? Now I'm gonna send these straight to mix, okay? I'm not sending it to my bus, to my beats bus, because this is in my template and it already goes to a bus that's named beats and it's got processing on it. But I want you to hear how the pads and the things sound before we get into my beats bus, and you'll understand why in a second. So now I'm gonna play these pads. They're easy. I can click on them or I can play it on my bass station. Right? So the sound's manageable. All right, we can go up. These are the pads. They sound balanced. They sound cut the right way. I think Mike's done a great job. Congrats, Mike, because I guarantee you, packs that sound amazing, but they're not drop-in ready, okay? And this takes even more time then to use it for composing. That's why I never, ever, ever assemble a kit the moment I'm composing. I need to do it earlier. So these are my kicks, and we're gonna do the snares as well. I'm gonna drop it on F. I don't care about order. If you do, it's okay. So we go again from kicks to snares. Okay. Okay. This would be my one instrument, hemispheres, kick and snares. Kicks, snares. I usually even do, as I said, kicks and just snares. But I don't send these to my mix bus. I send it to the beats bus, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. Remember these sounds, okay? I'm gonna play them again. Okay, and we ended it here. So I usually put some effects on them and I have my template ready. So we're gonna route them to the Volante, to the black hole, maybe other stuff. I have no idea. Let's see. Could be that. So things are in sync. So 100 BPM is being translated to the volante itself, but okay, this could be a pattern. I usually don't like to push pads and build a pattern on patterns. I want to do it with my hands. So it sounds good without. All right, we went from super wet to super dry, but I like super wet better. Don't ask me why. And the thing is that we're going to my mix bus. That makes absolutely no sense. So what I usually do is, because these are beats, they're beats, or they're not beats, but they're gonna become grooves built sort of like a beat, they have to go to my beats bus, which sounds or makes these pads sound as such. Let's go to beats here and beats master. Okay, so now it sounds like this. Right, and then we instantiate the volante and black hole again here, right? This thing that I'm doing, here are these kicks. I like to use kicks separately from snares because I kind of use kicks like kicks, or kicks like snares and kicks. So I like that Mike has done these different variations. So this is my bus, and this is how it will sound. I don't care. This is how my beats bus sounds, or makes things sound, but we're getting there, but it's still not ready. And I'm going to explain why in a second. But here, you can't really see me play the keys and know how hard I'm hitting on them, but I'm going to try and make it absolutely extreme. Hear how dynamic things are through drum machine. Even if we have one single sample hit that's supposed to sound the same all the time, going through drum machine in Bitwig and going to the beats bus is actually very, very, very musical and dynamic. So I mean, you heard that? You heard that? Right? They sound very, very, very different. Okay. So, hello, Plottery. No, I haven't. You have to go to my website and send me an email to my AO account. But there's only that one. Please do. Congrats on winning. All right. So you find my website in the description of this stream. And it's albertorizoschettino.net, and there's an email button there that you can use. And I'll write you my email here. You can also use that one here. Send me an email here. That's my email address. Right. Yeah, I check my spam folder though. So that's how it is. And we'll go through the verification and everything else, but I gotta receive an email. So that's an AOL account, so don't worry about it. If you send it, it will go there. So that's it. Right. I can't wait to just finalize this so that the award can get sent. All right. So you hear how it works, and it does work. And it might be too much, might be not enough, but that's what I want to achieve with these beats. I want them to go to my bus, and it needs to go there. You heard how dynamic that is. The problem is that these still have a little bit of a difference in dynamics or in main level. So I need to address this, okay? I usually like to kind of play them and feel if there's something standing out too much or not standing out enough against one of my reference packs samples, which could be the first kick actually, Aero Snap. This one. So, for example, this G sharp sounds quite loud. So I'm gonna drop it down in volume. Like this. I usually don't do that much. F sharp. This one sounds a little bit too loud as well. So I go to out. Usually 12 o'clock's kind of nice. F. This is also loud. Now, the samples themselves might be perfectly fine and normalize and be the same loudness, all that jazz. The thing is, it's my bus that is highlighting some frequencies more than others, and so it's throwing the whole kit off balance. This one could be a little bit louder, Indigo. You hear the differences in just texture? Let's try glitch delay. They sound fine now. Still think this one's kind of loud. And this one as well. Just because of how many highs I'm pumping out, right? These ones, for example, this one's a bit alike. These I could use. Shadu papadum tam papadum tadum. I can kind of hear grooves and stuff. So kicks and snares would be done. It doesn't mean I'm gonna use these effects. It's just putting things in context, you know. And the template I have will sound kind of different given the combination of stuff that I have. So now what I do is I could experiment with it with just complicated effects, but there's a couple processors that I often like to use regardless of the song itself, and these are unfiltered audio dent 2, not all the time dent 2, but anything unfiltered audio has is just, to me, amazing. So these ones, for example, let's try these two and let's bypass them for now, and let's just try crispy clip first. So this is meant to be just me clipping stuff, meaning I don't want the samples to be able to go too loud, and this is something I like to do all the time. It doesn't mean I'm gonna clip, but I need them to be constrained, like limited, because I don't know what I'm gonna do, filter sweeps, stuff like that. So I wanna know a ceiling that works for them. So here we're glitching out of probably buffer size. We're gonna work with that in a second, but let me see where we are here. This could be a setup that I would use. See how much I am cutting out of that sample? For example, that would work. Or maybe a little bit more, just so that we're not completely crunching things, but it's just sort of like tightening the whole groove into a plane, a special plane of the soundscape. And then with my snare glitcher, sounds like this. I have no idea if this is going to make it very weird because it's a snare glitcher. I kind of remember what I've done. All right, without. What about 100%? All right, so you got it. 100% is this. 0, 100, and 30, what was it? 33? It's kind of making it a little bit lighter. So these are two things that I kind of keep with different presets. Sometimes I rework them. I gotta be honest with you, this one, the pack here sounds really good already. So it doesn't need to be made interesting. If I have very realistic snares, then I usually pass them through kind of more of these dent or spec ops, you know, things that unfiltered audio does. It just completely destroy audio in a good way. These would be the kicks and snares, but you see there's different things, right? So we do another one and we go through the OH, perk, and cymbals, all right? So I'm gonna just duplicate this guy and go over the second drum machine, right? We got just the same samples. I'm gonna select them all, erase them so that they completely get cleaned, and I take things in order. So I would go perk, here. I would actually drop the perk in the other one. You know what? I think so. Let's do that. Let me drop perk here. This is something I happen to do. So this is an A. See, this is very loud. All right, this is good. And so here we start from CH and cymbals, for example, or OH. I have no idea what they are. CH and cymbals. But because I have no idea what they are, I'm just learning to use them the way it is, right? So that's easy. So now we play this one with the track in the beats. I just don't care. It's gotta be in context, okay? So this is not my kicks and snares. This is actually my CH sim, okay? Or high frequencies, or whatever you want to call it. I'm thinking it's gonna be more highs, this one. So I'm gonna play it. And then I tune the volume, just I kind of gain stage it, right? This level of phosphorus is, I think, appropriate. So this is a bit loud. All right, so this one. All right, these are, it's good. Like Xerxes, it's a little bit low. All right, so this one is a perfect example of something that starts with a pronounced offbeat. And I want to be able to do that. So I'm going to move the start here. And I don't need these to be looped, right? Or to do the 4 passages. So in this case, I'll do it differently. And here's usually what I do. I just move it here. All right, then we go to the third one. And I know that, you know, Black Dragon Sound Design's done it with a meaning. There's a reason why these loops are done this way, but that's what people are somehow expected to do. If you have a digitact, if you have an octatrack, if you have anything, you can just do these kind of cutting on the fly. You slice it and you map it to all the slots or whatever your drum machine's calling them, right? Some of them allow you to pick random stuff. You could do it just by putting it somewhere else and do offsets. It just depends. This is loud. We could do this, for example. This sounds fantastic. Loop version says, Mike, it's a baked-in variation per hit. Exactly. So some I mean, we're lucky we have Mike himself who did this. You see how many variations are here? You can use them on different pads. You can use them just rerouted to a different stretched tempo if you want to use them. You can hear one that you like better than the other. I'm going to do the next part where I'm using the ambience, arpeggios, and other things, and you're just going to understand it in 2 seconds because there's a lot of interesting things. So in this case, I could have it here. I could use maybe the third one. What is it? This E? No? All right, it's a E flat. So I could maybe the third one, right? All right, I like the fourth one, for example. So right, and you can repitch it, you can stretch it, you can cycle it, and you can put anything here. We will do something weird afterwards. Normally, when I hear this stuff for how I use it, I could use this just as a starting point. Then when I play into the song, I will make it shorter, but I don't make these much decisions or these many decisions when I am just preparing the thing. But if it's too loud or too soft, or it's got start and end points I want to adjust on the fly, I have a feeling for what I need to do template wise and what I need to do song wise, okay? All right. I think we're there. If you want to do one shots, usually I don't like to do one shots. I just put the release high. Right? So I press the key and let go. It keeps going because of the release, but it's also fading out. Because this will change the release of the sample that I play based on my velocity. And that's again because I like to play them. I don't want the patterns to be just triggered by the mouse, by a mouse. Louder, but also longer because we got a different release approach to the fade that was already there in these cymbal osmin wash. I don't pitch them, I don't change them for now, even if I were to know like that all my songs are, I don't know, in 2 or 3 keys, whatever, for an album or something I wrote, I don't do it, so it's okay there. Also, these kind of sound okay. They're not half with like complete repitched stuff. I've played different things together. So you can even play the 2. So now we got the 2 together. They don't sound off, right? They're part of the same template that go to the same bus. So this is kind of all fun and giggles because it's just simple hits. They're kind of falling into an easy way of handling stuff. They're all single shots. We can kind of move this, the starting point, but there's a lot of other stuff. So how do you use that? Now, I keep repeating myself. You think this is just obvious? I guarantee you this is how you end up not writing songs, because you have folders with WAV files. And if you're like myself, you can't really put everything into folders the day you're writing a song. To me, it just completely destroys my inspiration or anything. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to take these hemispheres MISC, and we're just going to open these other channel. I'm not going to use filtered audio, dent, or crispy clip. I just want one more drum machine here. And for the sake of mental sanity, I'm going to erase everything, and I'm going to take a listen to the different stuff that is here, okay? And take a look at what's going to happen. This is a drum machine module. I'm using it to trigger samples. I'm not saying it's going to end up being in this drum machine, okay? So I take ambience and I see one file. I drop it on C1. I play C1 only on the drums, the hemispheres MISC. So I play C1. These I really like, but as Rain Crackle 90, it means it's a 90 BPM thing. There's no key because it's not tonal. But what I would like to have here is maybe something like, if I hear these and I really want to use it with beats, I could do a couple different pads. So the first one's just hitting and then going slowly fading out. This one I would really like. When I heard these, I was like, all right, these could be just, because it works great with kicks, for example. You hear it? It just works. It's amazing. It's just completely throwing things off, but it's kind of in tempo, right? It's a little bit off. It's in a good way. But you might want to do something different. For example, you could use this to do something very hemispheres appropriate. Hear these out. We go just very fast, sustain with no release. So the moment we let go, it just ends. But we tailor our attack to be just a fading sound. And we can do it even logarithmic or exponential here in Bitwig Studio. If you time this right, it's just gonna give your beats a lot more movement. And it's just a rain crackle thing, you know, it's just nice. We can even move it around, something like this. Or this could be an entire different sample. So now my question is, for something that isn't tonal, that doesn't have sort of like a chromatic root foundation, I could make different pads of these rain and call it the hemispheres rain, okay? So the first one could be just what we said, like fast attack and just release going down. The second pad on C#1 can still be the same sample, just doing, for example, a fade in, sounding like a reverse cymbal kind of thing, right? The other one could be repitched, and you can make an entire octave based on the same sample. So I could do that. I will not do it right now. So this would become hemispheres rain, and that's it, you know. And I keep developing these, and I have it at my fingertips. All I need to do when a song is being built, and I say like, I kind of want something that glitches away, that has a long tail. I just take maybe the avalanche, the glitch delay, and go, or let's hear if it's glitching out. Can you hear it in the background? And this is kind of just noise, you know. Electronic music's been using that for a long time. When you mix these with orchestral sounds, it's a very, very sought after modern approach. These days I hear a lot of stuff that is classical and then it's completely destroyed by electronic stuff. So you better have these ready. It's hard to start moving things around short of minor adjustments. I like to make kind of a kit based on just the rain crackle, for example. Then let's keep going. There's an arpeggio here. This is a Syrades F# minor 90. Okay, so let's pretend we do this on the same thing. I'll just duplicate this, make it inactive. You know, we have these luxury, and I call these Syrades, right? So we erase the rain, and I could start the same exact way. I haven't still found one sample that I want to do the sampler version of. Maybe it's this one. All right, I like this. Let me see with Survival maybe, and without the avalanche, and just Volante. All right, so this is an F# minor. It was given to us by Mike this way. So the sample says F# minor 90. So can you do a single shot on it? Now, when I hear this, I wouldn't probably do drum machine, okay? I would do sampler. So I'm going to erase this. I'm going to call sampler, which is still a device in Bitwig. And I'm just going to drop this guy in here, right? So we have the same thing. If I press C, You hear though where it is, right? Because this is probably a very low one. It's the root C3. So we're gonna drop it down, or maybe up, to F sharp 4. Oh, actually no, to F sharp 2, because it goes the other way around. So here. Now it's repitching itself because it's set on repitch. So we can move it. So, but it's also repitching itself and speeding up. So we go to cycles maybe, and we hear what you can just do with this one. It sounds a little bit flangy in this case, so we can do textures. Okay, this could work. Now, what if you want, if I hear this and say, you know what, I would like to have these as single note, just like a, a sampler, whatever. We can go repitch, we can zoom things in here, we can move the sample end here, right? And I mean, you know these already, right? We can take this and we can do. You have a note, which sounds absolutely insane. And you can loop it. You can loop it like here. Let me just double check where we want to do it. You can loop it in tempo. You can loop it reverse. You can loop it back and forth. You can have all sorts of weirdness. You can even play 2 notes, but have one starting here, for example. Right? It's speeding itself up. So we go maybe cycles. Oh, okay, here it is. And I read Mike says, if you have a sampler that can slice and play slices, the Helium lead in sample chains might be useful instrument for this. Absolutely. Like, I mean, having just a loop being played for instruments that slice, and to me, it's just like the Octatrack is the ideal. It's kind of the default 0VU kind of environment, but you can do it on many. Like slicing the same sample and building your kit on a sliced sample, a longer one, to me has always been more organic than just loading 300 different ones. You can have random selections. You can have a lot of different things. So if you do chords here, this kind of sounds like weird flanging, right? But if you do it, let me do some rebouncer stuff here. And let me just avoid this one and crispy. I mean, come on, this is insane. Hear how slightly off that is? Let me do, let's go down here. Hear how much of a texture you have. It's just a single instrument. So when I hear this, I like to have them sampler based, not, drum machine based. That might be different for you. So I've done some of these already, and I've kept loading. There's bass, there's effects, there's sample chains. Let's do one more with the sample chain. So let me just drop this one here. We said Elum. Boom. Okay. And this is what? C minor. So we're already good here. It's right there. Okay, for example, I like this. But like this. All right, so now we need to loop it. We need to go here. Let's go here. All right, and here it is. It's just like textures is amazing in Bitwig. It's just insane. You can kind of ADSR it. You hear how it's kind of, it wants to go kind of fifth based, but and here it's resonating out. So anything, you can go, you want to drop it down here. Oh, this is good. I kind of like to slice on the electrons. I like to slice things so that kind of drop off tempo a little bit, and they're just insane. But I mean, this is just one thing. So let's go just straight. Let's say I like this sample as a Bram. This would be an amazing Bram, okay? So I select it, just drop it in here, pick it all, and I just raise the release. Right, done. This is really good, for example. So again, you can modulate, you can do different things. This would be just a single instrument. So because it's an instrument, let's call these actually Elum. So Helum Bram, all right? This is not a beat to me. So this would need to go to the synths. And so for example, I've done this one. We now send it to the old synths and we push record. And it's pitching, right? So you can move it around. You hear? That's the I think the rebouncer or survival, something from my effects template. So I've done, for example, Aquila, and I don't remember it. This one here. What I've done here. All right. This is kind of low, so we can kind of drop it up. Right? And this to me sounds amazing. And it's just here ready. Indigo, for example, again, it's what? Probably from the effects? No, from the lead, pad. Okay, this is from the pad, for example. Another one. Let's check it here. I've done it. Just place the root, and then I've placed other things around that we'll explore in a second. So I don't know you, but this is kind of like you don't really need to reinvent wheels. So that's why you saw Hemi Aquila and Hemi Indigo are already here, because I just put them in my sampler template and it's done. So this brings us to the second part. And this is the converters kind of vibe. So all of these samples that I use, the new sample packs, the new stuff that is being laying around, can be usually put into a perspective of a very high quality engine that we have that is playing too much of what we really need. And there's a lot of high fidelity, but there's not a lot of sound. For this reason, there's a lot of people that actually like the way some old samplers used to sound, because our samplers now have 32-bit floating point or more. The old ones didn't have that. So a notable name in the industry was the Akai 950. The 950 series was just a DAC for a sampler that was probably more faulted than it should have been given the capabilities of the sampler itself. And so the beautiful thing about this is that in the ears, the way the 950 used to capture and then reproduce the sound of anything you sampled from it has become incredibly famous, right? So what is this all about? I think we should take a look at what is happening in the 950 that Inphonik's doing, which is claiming to be one of the closest emulations to it. I've used it. It sounds fantastic. You heard it on Aquila and Indigo right now, a couple seconds ago. And I think we should take a look at what is happening in terms of what is really doing to our frequency spectrum. Are there harmonics? You know, there's plenty of bad things that I want you to take a look at. So to take these, we're going to do this. We're going to take our plugin doctor, and we're going to take a look at our, where is it? Here, Inphonik, 950, boom. So here I have loaded the RX 950. And again, I'm very thankful to Inphonik for having just given me the opportunity of adding this to my plugin arsenal, because there's no demo of it, and I'm really happy that I can show this to you. So the problem with the DAC in the 950 was not just about the 12-bit technology and things that are today a little bit limited, but kind of crunchy in a good way, because when you're pushing gain, you didn't have a lot of dynamic range. Yes, but there's a lot of jittery information. So whether you call it jitter or you call it jitter, I usually say jitter, things are jittering. It means that the clock source isn't 100% reliable, and because it isn't spacing the samples it's capturing or reproducing in a way that they are evenly spaced, you get distortion. That should not happen. Ideally, you want to take photographs of your sound that you're capturing or reproducing, whether it's digital to analog or analog to digital. During the transition, you want to have a clock that says, you know, when it's time to take or reproduce a frame of a picture. You can think about it as a picture. And these pace, think of it as a metronome, should be always 100% perfect. The problem is clocks are not 100% perfect metronomes. And because they're kind of sometimes a little bit faster, a little bit slower, the frames are captured or reproduced at just ever so slightly different timings. And this creates distortion because you don't have the exact capture with the perfect 100% metronome in the example I've made. This is what you're seeing here. Now, I can tweak some stuff around, meaning it's so fast, I hope it translates to the recording of the video, but I can take the bandwidth and move it up, and you see that the synth, the actual machine, the converter of the 950 emulated, is now completely stable, right? Then I can take the filter, move it down here, and I have this kind of overly bright situation, which is very common in the Akai world, and just a completely stable signal. Then I go here, take a look at the harmonic analysis, and what I have is just a bunch of noise below 100 dBs, and which kind of makes sense for the machine at the time or what we have today, and no harmonics, right? I can filter things down. You see I'm filtering even the noise that I'm generating, and this is pretty much it. The problem is I don't think a 950 is capable of going 1,200 hertz and be 100% stable like we're seeing here. I think this is pretty much theoretical. It's not happening on the real unit. So what's more likely to happen is this. So depending on where you have it, you see that things are moving in a way that simulate the problematic jitter and bandwidth resolution issues of the 950. I want you to take a look at this because it's not much about the harmonics a DAC generates, which a lot of people seem to, kind of believe that there were harmonics being added to the unit itself through a D to A or A to D process. It's more about how unstable this was. So by closing the filter and then having it react to different amounts of jitter emulation, you get a ton of sound of it. On top of it, if you go here, you can pick the brilliance, which I personally find to be the most responding, probably the closest to what I remember 950 to be, to me, is 16. I have no idea if that's such to you, but to me it was 16. It just sounds better. We're just gonna hear it. It just has that Akai thing, which I absolutely like, especially for beats and things that have to pass through. So then we have input and output. So let's keep it at maximum. Let's go here, see if we got harmonics. Well, you might say, oh, we got harmonics here. Well, no, we got harmonics, but we're clipping, all right? So if we go to 1000 hertz and we take a look at it, we got a bunch of noise here, but it's static. The moment we lower here things, look what's happening, right? So I'm going to lower it down a little bit. Now, the moment I move the bandwidth, I see that there's a dynamic movement in the 950, which I believe to be a good thing. But look at what is happening the moment I'm dropping my bandwidth. So I can keep my filter completely open, doesn't really matter. You see those spikes that are moving around? That's the aliasing. That's just happening because of bandwidth issues in the unit itself. These are the issues that made things famous, all right? So if you go to dynamics and take a look at it, we see that it's not stable. You see that? It's just not registering anything below, 62 dBs? And then it's kind of non-linear, and then it stabilizes itself. So for sounds that are very low, because you didn't have the dynamics, DAC was just not ready. Even the AD was even worse at doing that. You have this kind of unstable motion. Then it keeps being linear, so we can't really say it's a compressor. I don't think we're gonna see things becoming compressor-like. But this is essentially what the 950 does, okay? So now I think, just to give you a reference, I should take something else out here that is, I'm going to mute this, a product that just came out that Acustica Audio has made that is called A0, okay? So it should be about here, A0, VST3. All right. So to give you some kind of reference, because there's not a lot of emulators for the 950 kind of vibe, but as far as I know, the new ones, or like kind of the most focused ones, are definitely the RX 950 that I've been told by all of you, like, you gotta try that out. And it just came out, A0 by Acustica Audio. So I know you like a lot of Acustica Audio products. You want me to try them out, tell you what I think. Let's take a look at the Pendragon 950. Now, remember, this is a trial, okay? So what is happening in this plugin instead? Are all completely equal? So this in purple is A0, and the cyan is RX 950. So when I keep the input gain at 0, and the output at 0, so everything's fine, we see that generally the 950 is a lot brighter. We can take the brilliance out. Once you get it to -22, you almost have the same thing, although you see the levels off, right? So what we could do is we could take the input a little bit higher, which is not moving. Why isn't it moving? Take the output. Okay, let's do the output. I should move though. All right. Oh, it can only go down there. All right. Well, we move it to what? 1.3 dBs. And then we move the filter? No. We take the brilliance and we go down here. So we got a little bit more bandwidth for sure. I can't filter things out. It's just going to be different. So the unit that the 950 has, it's got a little bit more lows, down to the 20 hertz and something. While A0 is a little bit shaved off here on the lows, and it's got just a different profile for the highs, but you can get them to be quite similar. So I'm gonna just keep it here. Let me see. Oh, the bits are 32 bits. We wouldn't want that for sure. So I would drop these at 12. Okay, and it's doing this complete different thing. Okay, at 12 bits. All right, 48, 40. You see how the bandwidth's changing? They allow us to change the sample rate. So once we start dropping things to the infamous kind of 24 kilohertz maximum, we now have a Nyquist of 12K, right? Which is about this guy. However, look at how unstable we are, and I should bring these back up. See? So the products are not entirely different. I want to keep these jitter at the rate of 50, the depth of 50. They are treating jitter in the A0 more like an LFO kind of thing, which makes sense somehow. But let me try and engage MULO, which just completely, if I can click on it, completely stabilize it. But it's a little bit more polite, for sure. So can we make it completely misbehave? Maybe. That's the thing I noticed when I was using this. Look at how smooth and fluid the RX 950 is, and how A0 is a little bit more stable somehow. It does not mean much, but it's still doing the same thing. So it's registering the jitter as a constant difference and a sort of chaos in the harmonic response, right? So you can increase the depth of it, the rate. I think 50-50 is kind of good. You see, the beats are changing. Do we have harmonics in here? I think no. See, this one's moving as well. So I said, all right, these two are very comparable. The aliasing's moving as well. That's bounce back. That's happening from the D to A probably not being 100%, or maybe the process of D to A before having done already an A to D. So that's kind of cool. There's other models in here. There's a Merlin. There's an EM2. There's a Fairy Morgana. I don't know what these are all about, but I'm thinking the 950, that's a 1200, okay, we know that. But the 950 is about here. So does these have dynamics? Look at that. It's probably going to be similar. We remember 62 and change. Right, okay, so they're kind of there. Wow, okay. So they both emulated the fact that we're completely cascading here. Do we have 10 beats maybe? No, 8 beats. Look at that. It's going to drop even more. Voila. Now we have even less beats than we have on the R950. So it's about 12. Let me try MULO. Maybe it's different. Look at the latency of A0 versus 950. See how much time it takes for it. So MULO rebalances the whole dynamic situation. I don't think I want to use that then. Okay. So we got enough information to get back to Bitwig and now hear things out. Okay. So I'm gonna take some kind of groove here. Probably. Let me take a beats thing that I've done. If they're playing. They have these one probably. Let me see. We do a comparison. So is it playing? All right, let's do that. Let's load our buffer size a ton more by going here in the actual Aurora, and let's make this guy relaxed 2048. Now we're gonna wait for it to happen. I'm gonna take a Redrum mono machine clone that I've done on Redrum in Reason, and we're going to, is it already done it? No. All right. And we're gonna redo it, or like listen to it while it's playing and having it go to the 950 and then to A0, and we're gonna compare that. All right, so it's loading plugins again. I'm gonna have, I don't know how much latency, but we don't care about latency. When you switch buffer size, obviously your DAW needs to reassess the whole situation and just reload plugins. But let's do that. It's kind of a heavy template, but I can do it in 512 when I am not streaming. Okay, let's try that. Okay. For now, let's just try the mono machine drum. Okay, works. It's fairly dark, right? It's it's in the grooves. It's got filter bank, parallel mix head. Doesn't quite matter. There's orange clip here playing, and that's the reason rack. I'm using a redrum, pulverizer, some Blam Soft Shredder series. I love this stuff. And then EQ Comp Maximizer. I call these redrum mono machine. Okay, so we're gonna use this one. So what I have here is a mono machine clone that I've redone in redrum Reason, and there's some clipping on it and just some effects. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna hear it going through the 950 because that's what it's all about. Like now that we know how it looks like when it's playing, we want to know what does it sound like. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bypass it here below while things are playing, and then we're gonna engage it. And here, if it in default status, it just gives us that kind of mojo or vibe. So it becomes a little bit flatter, a little bit more, it's less bits, it's a little bit more compressed and stuff. I kind of like where the filter and bandwidth are set, but I want you to hear the brilliance thing. To me, 16 is where it shines, and it just reminds me of the 950. So I'm just gonna have it play, and I'm gonna move the brilliance, okay? Okay, so now we do a before and after with the 16 brilliance, which to me sounds like default. Okay, so 2 bars without, 2 bars with. It just helps things come out somehow. I don't know. It's subtle as it should be. I remember having tried different emulations, but the 950 here by Inphonik is just completely invisible somehow, but even on a dark kind of vibe, it just reflects differently on the effects, and it just kind of speaks differently, right? So let's try A0 on it instead. Let's see where we are. I'm gonna bypass the 950, and let's try A0. Right here, I think I hit a sweet spot, and I kind of tried it already, and I knew that 49, 50, 50, 50 something, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, sounds to me like it's breaking the sound up in a good way. The filters, I kind of like where they are. We got 0, 2, 4, 8. It's not about that. It's just that even the sample rate, we could start dropping. But I hear an instant gratification feedback when I got 12 beats and 50-50 rate and depth for jitter. I pushed the input a little bit more. To me, it kind of sounds like, let's try and put the gain down and hear how it discharges itself. It's not about gain, it's about the, let's say, harmonics. It's not harmonics, but it's about how much of a heat we got in the D2A requests. Then I'm gonna drop the sample rate as well. I kind of like 44.1 for whatever reason. Maybe is that the maximum the 950 could go to? Or is it even more than it could do? I think it's more than it could do. I don't really remember, but it's deeper and it's a little bit crispier, but I kind of hear it more on the back, which is kind of not what the 950 was doing. Honestly, it's a better version of the 950. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I like what it does, but I wouldn't say it's the 950 kind of vibe. okay? Which is what we're here for, by the way. I know there's other models in there. We're here for the 950. So again, this is the trial version, so maybe the full one's got different vibes and things that I can try. Oversampling 1-2 times, I know I can go more. I'll keep it at 1 time for reasons being the Akai and whatever. I know maybe it's going to emulate it better, but let's keep it where it is. So how about on different things? How about on maybe a live synthesizer that I have here? How about something that has got plenty of tone? Maybe the Prophet itself. All right, let's try this. Let's try something that's a little bit low here. All right, we got plenty of sound for sure. All right, so I have 2048 buffer size, so it's impossible to play it in tempo, but let's try this one here. I think this is a good example. I want to do that. So this simple sound of the Prophet 6, which sounds already into effects and things like that, how does it sound with the 950 on? How does it filter itself out? All right, so I'm just going to play C sharp. Oh, don't tell me you didn't hear it. How it kind of gave it that edge, right? And I think 16 is what kind of a 950 thing. I have to think I have a sampler there and not the Prophet 6, but you might say, why are you trying to make something that sounds better worse, right? Through something that is inferior in technology and vibe. It's an analog synthesizer versus the Akai thing. Well, I kind of want to give it a vibe that this is coming from a 90s sampler talking about the old Prophet. You know, and it's a sound, it's a different thing. So let's play with the bandwidth and filter. I think they got the filter 100% right. If you heard how kind of flat and narrow it becomes, it's just insane. So now let's keep the filter there. Let's play with the bandwidth. All right, let me do something like pushing a little bit of gain and then output down, filter here. I got it right away, just because I kind of felt where the knobs were going. Don't tell me it doesn't sound. For those of you who've played with the 950 in an era where the analog synths, maybe you couldn't get the analog synths. You know, I was already too young when the 950 was there to buy one. You know, I didn't have a chance to just ask my parents or something like it. But I remember that sound, and I think the 950 here by Inphonik, it just got it so right. It sounds like I have a module, and it's something from some kind of sound vintage collection of something, right? It's vintage synth collection, and it's right on the spot. I mean, without, just so you know, this is really the Prophet there. And with. Come on, who's better? They're just different things. Insane. Now, let me try a 0 on it. All right. We know we said 50-50 something. We know we want ultra. We know we want 12. We know we want 12 bits. Right? So I'm going to go without and then with. All right, so it's a better version of the idea of the 950, but it's really not as ugly good as it should be. Maybe I gotta drop the sample rate. Okay, now I'm starting to like it. Let's go without. It's still making things better, in my opinion. It's somehow kind of a better iser. Let's try the 950. Okay, it's louder. All right, now we do 950 and then we do A0 and back and forth. For me, A0 doesn't cut it that much. It's like the 950 is just, and again, this video is definitely supported by Inphonik, because if I hadn't received the 950 from them, we wouldn't be able here to demo it. There's no demo of it. But it's good. It's good. If you've tried this stuff and you liked it somehow, let's try some polyphonic things. For example, how worse you think you can make a Nord lead with these? Let's try the Nord lead. Okay, so okay, we're gonna play this, okay? I can't wait. So the Nord lead is renowned for not having converters that are much better than a 950. A lot of people say. But how about this? Don't tell me you don't hear it. So without. With. It sounds compressed. It sounds like, because you got less definition, less whatever. It sounds cool. So maybe I'm pushing things off to clip. I have no idea. But they would do it on a 950, so it's good. Let's try and get the filter to work. It's a sound design thing. Without. Sounds good. I really, really like this. Let me try a 0 now. Okay, just where it started, like this one, what we had before. You can't really close the filter there, but it's not about that. Let me go 2 again, and let me go 40. I really like 26010. So without. I still don't think it's doing a lot. I mean, it's making things interact better. I think like on a mix bus, maybe you can use A0 to kind of give it that, you know, and it's not going to destroy your mix. It's just going to give it a little bit of attitude, or on an entire bus. But I'm team RX 950. It's just bidimensional in a good way. There's even a mono button to make things mono. So you hear it, how it opens up on the Nord lead. It's even making the Nord lead better. Now, for those of you who don't really know what kind of horrible but beautiful sounds aliasing can make, I just want to remind you that what I'm going to play here with a lot of latency is the Amiga that has just a simple sound through magics, and it. This is the Amiga 1200 with Aegis Sonics 2 with a sound I made some time ago, and it's just going through pedal effects, and it's just sounding the way it does because of the aliasing, the jitter, the things it does that are imperfect somehow with the Pola chip and what it does. You know, it's a world in itself. There's no RX 950, there's no other emulation, it's just the instrument into some effects. Just a clean mic preamps, line preamps, whatever. You hear how jitter can sound like a flanger or chorus in a bad way and alias so much that you kind of get different information in the sound, but it's good. It's just got that attitude thing. I think a lot of the 950 sort of like fame and whatever name that it got was about the fact that a lot of people wanted the musical message in it to be edgy somehow, to retain some push, some forwardness. And I still believe that it's got attitude, that we're so used to it that it's become a sound in itself. So this was it. I think the RX 950 is really good, and it just, you know, you probably don't need to look any further. It's a shame that there's no demo at the time of this video, because I think a lot more people would just be able to experiment with it. And there's not much to say. It's just 4 knobs beautifully modeled in their cosmetics as well. The filter, if you just want to drop some beats and have the filter open and close, that was done so much in the beat era of the Akai, domain. But the bandwidth itself, you just open it, set the filter where it is if you want it or not, and just this brilliant 16. It just resonates with me with the way the jitter and how the emulated is about. I think this is a really good job, and it can be addictive because sometimes for genres of music that are pushing things out, you have a lot more dynamic range than you really know and that you really need. Sounds counterintuitive, but that's true. A lot of the sounds are getting pushed in, even DJ sets and stuff cannot have a huge dynamic range. So the old era of the Akai is something we want to look at. Long live 12 bits for sure. All right. So thank you very much for having me with me. We're going to take a look at different stuff in the future for sure. It was just amazing to be able to do these around. We're going to take the opportunity to just enjoy what we have and end up the evening. Remember, I have a passion in which I do this, and just check it out. There's tons of content, and we started early today and we ended pretty much at the same time, maybe a little bit earlier. So really, really, really good job. I really like this. So I don't know if there's chat messages that I want to take a look at. Let me see there. Maybe. Okay, no. Mike wrote, if you have a sampler that can play slices, the album lead and sample chains would be a useful instrument for this. So I read that. Awesome. And I think even his samples are probably gonna get completely smashed by these kick snares. Let me play with these guy. And let me put here. Let me drop some of the A0 things. Put the I50 here. You know. Here. Hello. -1. Man, this thing. You just open it 10K filter open, so without it's just a different vibe. But let me go. Yeah, Brilliance 16 is the key. Man. Nice. I really like this. What about a filter? Okay, so let's ditch the glitch delay. That's quite good. Let me try and do a redrum. Let me do a reason. I'm curious to hear it on what Mike's done. Just write something here. It's gonna be more than awesome. So let me drop drum machine for one. This thing, let me put it first. Can it load instruments? Yes, it can. All right, let me do redrum. Why does it misplay stuff? Redrum. All right, so we go here. I don't know who's here at the moment, but I'm gonna take a look at these because I'm too interested in that. So this one, drums, and I want what? Kicks, air snap. So I go run. All right, I like that. And let me put again here, drums. I want all of the kicks. So arrow. Then I want. See, it takes time to build this stuff. You can't really do it. Hemispheres, man, this kick. Man, this kick. Indigo and round. These kits become one of my favorite of all. It's. I'm glad I asked you to do it. So, so okay, we got the kicks. I don't want the snares though. We try arpeggio. I don't know how we can use these though. We go around. Okay, no. What? No. I mean, I don't want to use just one sound, but I need the kicks. So we got hemisphere, indigo, arrow. Okay, did I load them all? I hate the browser here. The way it just arrow, hemisphere, indigo, round. Ah, okay. Arrow, indigo, round. Okay, so this guy needs to be round. I want all my kicks. I need to work with all my kicks. Can't work with less than that. So now, these guys. Let me take maybe. I haven't tried that. Pad. All right. So let me try and run this. Okay. Okay. I've enjoyed this way more than my ego of the 12-bit generation should have done it. It's so good. I think our RX 950. I mean, I've loaded the samples in ReDrum and I've done stuff around with it, just patched these stuff out into my Beats bus. But the attitude of just playing the filter itself, I think it's just insane. I didn't move the bandwidth. I think 10,000 has that thing. I haven't moved the brilliance at 16. I already said it plenty of times. It just sounds right to me. But the filter itself has that complete musical sweep in the way it was designed and modeled that is just off the hook. I certainly went over distorting things. It's just the template works this way. I like to do it this way, believe it or not. But the samples, the way things are blending into the pedals. Remember that the ReDrum's going straight into the RX 950 and then it's developing into the pedals. So I think it's a great example of how little by little, even if the moves were not initially extreme, the definition of these weird jitter distortion combination that the unit has and how it's been emulated in the Inphonik plugin kind of resonate throughout the signal flow, right? So this was really cool. I hope, again, that this gave you an idea of why and how inferior technology back then is still legendary, and it sounds good, and it sounds with ton of attitude that you can't really instantly get in the latest and greatest distortion plugin. It's just a very specific thing that I think we all have in our heads, especially if we lived through the 90s, which were what they were, but they certainly had a lot of cool music. I believe that. I don't know if you believe that. So thank you very much as usual. We'll see each other soon. Ciao.